Welcome back to the Silly Kitchen. Thank you so much for stopping by to watch today's episode where I'm going to show you how to cook a steak. Not one way, but two ways. I'm really excited about this episode because I want to take the fear out of cooking a beautiful piece of meat. So, first thing you gotta do is get yourself a couple of steaks. And for me, I am no expert when it comes to cuts of meat or, everything to look for when it comes to that perfect steak. So I'm really excited just to give a shout out to Rob from Brady's Meat here locally in Waterloo region, where I went to him. He's a local butcher and I said, hey, I'm looking to cook a couple steaks. This is how I wanna cook them. What would you recommend? And he picked out two beautiful strip loin steaks for me with some beautiful, exceptional marbling in it. The quality is gorgeous. So if you're gonna cook some steaks and you're gonna try some of this execution at home, get yourself a couple quality steaks. So as I mentioned, I'm gonna show you two different ways to cook a steak. And I picked two of these strip loins to be very similar in size and shape so that I'm kind of doing a comparison between the two ways of cooking it with two very similar steaks. So do you want to know which two ways we're going to cook them? We're going to do a classic propane barbecue grill, and we're also going to do a cast iron pan steak. So stay tuned, and here we go. Let's start with the barbecue. Let's get that barbecue fired up on high heat. While that's warming up, we're going to pat our steak dry with a paper towel. You're also going to want to season your steak. I'm going simple with just salt and pepper for this video. Make sure you hit both sides up with as much or as little as you like. Once that grill is hot and ready, just over that 400 mark, place your steak on and let it cook with the lid closed. I'm timing this for about 2 minutes before I give it a flip. I'm a one flip kind of girl when it comes to steak, and that is all I want to do. Here's where you need to let that steak rest just for a couple of minutes. Let that temperature come up before you start slicing into it. Oh, this is my favorite part, cutting into a beautiful steak, and look at that, a gorgeous, rare, maybe medium rare steak with a 2-minute grill on each side. Oh, how delicious was that barbecue steak? I mean, you really can't go wrong when you have a good quality steak and you cook it properly. Now, do not fear, we are going to cook our second steak in a cast iron pan. So let's head over to the stovetop with our cast iron and get started on our second steak. We are going to start the exact same way as last time. Pat that steak dry with a paper towel and season it with salt and pepper generously on both sides of your steak. Warm up that cast iron pan on your stove top at this time. Once it's getting hot, you can add a tiny bit of oil, olive oil, to the bottom of the pan, and once you see it steaming, that's when the steak goes in. I only want to flip the steak once, so leave it here for 2 minutes, and once you're ready, give it a flip. This is where you'll add in a nice dollop of butter and let it melt throughout the pan. You are also able to add some nice herbs here if you'd like some aroma and flavor in your butter. I'm throwing in some thyme, and let's butter baste your steak. Now watch the clock because you do only want to keep this on the pan for that 2 minutes per side. Once your 2 minutes have passed, turn off that heat and get that steak out of the pan because we want to have it rest just a little bit longer off the heat. Pour some butter on top. You've got it in the pan already. Why not have that extra flavor? Once you've let it sit, this is the time to cut in and slice and see what the result is on the cast iron pan. This is probably my favorite part because we get to look inside and see what happened with the cook. 2 minutes per side in the cast iron gave us a beautiful medium steak. Now let's take a look at both of the steaks side by side. Left one being the barbecue cook and the right one being the cast iron. 2 minutes on very high heat, very similar methods, but using different materials gives us two very different results. Well, there you have it. Steak cooked 2 ways. And really, you cannot go wrong with either method. But what I wanted to show you was if you don't have access to a barbecue, because automatically you think steak, you think grill marks, you think barbecue. But if you live in a condo, if you live in a high-rise, if you don't have a barbecue or grill or access to one, the cast iron pan, I might even say, can be even better than grilling it on a barbecue. Try it at home. Do not be afraid of that butter because it will all just melt in your mouth and taste delicious. I hope you give this a try if you don't have a barbecue, but if you do, you already know how to cook a steak both ways now. Enjoy barbecue season, steak season, summertime, and thank you so much for watching another episode of The Silly Kitchen. Hit that subscribe button and I will see you again soon. Cheers!